So let's have a little look around this Dennis SS fire engine or fire appliance, depending on what you want to call it. Starting from the corner, we can see that the vehicle's had some kind of minor collision. The deflector plate here scuffed and bent, so that can be straightened out. We've got collision damage here, and if you can see from the angle, you can see that it has been pushed in a bit in this area here, so clearly it's had a bit of a knock, so that can be straightened out and repaired. If we lift the bonnet and have a little look underneath, we can see that apart from being a bit grubby and a bit dirty, it all looks pretty much in good order, and no apparent sign of any kind of damage from that collision, including looking at the inside. Doesn't look like it's coming away from the fiberglass. Maybe a bit of a crack there, so that might need to be rebonded, but generally looks okay. Should have a bit of a tidy up. Some of the electrical covers have all degraded, so we can look at trying to get some new ones of those and see if we can get them replaced. Deceptively heavy bonnet. Okay, paintwork wise, I'm not going to go too much into the paintwork. Clearly you can see that it's tired, so that's all going to get cleaned up, and then we'll probably go for a respray on it, which will repair all the paint. So as I say, we'll go around, you'll see signs of the paint deteriorating, but don't worry, we'll get that sorted. Biggest job's probably on the front. Apart from that collision damage, we've got corrosion up on those top corners there, and not so bad on that side, but both of those are going to need to be cleaned up, inspected, see what needs to be done with regards to a way of repair. Moving around the side of here, we see the first biggest job, which is this. So we've got the typical Dennis door rot across the bottom here, so all this is going to have to get cut out and either a replacement door skin put in or some other repair, depending on how bad that damage is. We'll see when we get the we'll have a look when we get the back off, see if it's coming through, and if not, what we can do by cleaning this up. The reason we get that is because these seals here on the window fail, and the water runs down inside and just gets trapped at the bottom down here. So we'll look at that and see if there's any modification that we can make just to improve that, so it doesn't keep happening. The chrome, yeah, the chrome, there's not much chrome on this vehicle, but where the chrome is in place, it is looking a little bit tired, so we'll get those taken off and see if we can get those re-chromed. Minor things like missing brackets for the nameplate, easily repaired, easy to get hold of things like that. When we inspected the water, it was down, so we did put some water in it. It needs to be topped up. Again, minor. Tyres are in good order, but don't know the age of them. Even though I've been told they are out of the legislation around tyres, so where it specifies that tyres have to be replaced after 10 years. These probably are older than 10 years, these tyres. Plenty of meat on them. We'll get them inspected, see if they need to be replaced. If there's any doubt whatsoever, we'll be getting them taken off and getting new tyres put on it. We're not going to run the risk of a tyre going. Carrying on, back door again, door rot along here, and again you can see the rubber seal on the window has gone, so that's why we're getting that door rot down there. So we'll get that sorted out. We'll do the lockers separately, so we'll just look on the outside of the lockers. The reflective strip, that's going, that's obvious, that's a common one. Rubber seals around the edge, don't seem too bad on that locker, although on this locker they are now feeling their age and certainly on this side we've even got sections of it missing, so we'll have to look at trying to get some more rubbers. Back tyres as well, again same condition as the front ones, good order, but we will get them inspected. Missing plate for the pressures that goes on these tyres, so it's only the one that's missing, so we'll get that one, we'll get that redone. Back locker looks generally okay. From the back, looks a bit tight, a bit untidy, but that'll all clean up. Main issue that we've got here is lights. So the reversing lights on the vehicle don't work. We've replaced the bulbs because they had blown, still don't work, so there's clearly something else there, either a wiring issue or more possibly a switch on the gearbox has gone faulty, so we'll look at doing that. Brake lights, we've got a brake light on that side, but we don't have one working on this side. Again, that bulb had blown, we replaced the bulb, still isn't working, so we'll check that, see if it's blown again. If it is, we've got a wiring issue, but clearly there's something else going on there, so we'll have to have a little look into that one. Carrying on round, just generally just needs a bit of love and attention, really. You know, rubbers on the seal, on the lockers, again not as bad on the other as on the other side. These rubbers seem generally okay. Pressure plates all in place. Lots of signs of dinks and scuffs and etc., but that'll all get picked up with the respray. Going along fine. Okay, another door. Again, door rubbers looking a little bit tired. Chrome needs doing. Biggest issue we got on here, whether or not this has had some kind of dent or something in, but that looks like filler to me. So we'll have a little look at that, see what the issue is there, whether or not this will all have to get taken off and sorted. So whether or not that can be bodged, a refill, and and covered with the respray, or whether or not we're looking at a new skin again, we'll have a look at that. Tires, same as on the other side. Chrome, yeah, fine. Lots of crazing on the paint. The paintwork's going. Actually, that door looks remarkably in good condition. So maybe, just maybe, that door's already been replaced. Issue on this one as well. This needs tightening up. The mirror needs tightening up, because what they were finding yesterday when we were driving it back is the wind itself was enough to fold the mirror back in. So we will look at just cleaning all of that up and getting that tightened up. Okay, so next thing we need to do is get the lockers open. So, lockers are now open. Checker plate on the top, wooden shelf in the middle, and then we've got the sliding rack on the bottom here. Seem generally in good order, just needs a bit of TLC, needs cleaning out. I know for a fact that the cab lighting, or the locker lighting, sorry, doesn't work, so we'll look at those, get that sorted out. Let's see. Yeah, we haven't got that. There should be yes. The handle's broken off on that. So there is a locking mechanism here to prevent this from sliding out. This would have carried things like the RTC equipment, the road traffic collision equipment, so things which people generally call the jaws of life. Oh, there we go. Look at that. There's the handle that operates that. So we've got a little bit of work to do on that one, see if we can reattach that, if that's a welding job or a replacement job. So yeah, so RCC kit would go on there, and that'd be able to be slid out so that you could access it a bit easier, because it would have come on a tray, which would have sat on top of that and could have been lifted off. Either that, or depending on the configuration for this vehicle, could also have been the what was called the lightweight portable pump, which is a big Coventry Climax engine used similar to the engines used in the Hillman Imp. Coventry Climax engine. Again, lightweight, took 4 people to carry the thing. So, lightweight in so much as it only takes 4 people to carry that, takes a few more people to carry this. So that might have sat there as well, depending on the configuration. Middle locker is where the hose is kept on this appliance, which is different to the way, because obviously I was from London Fire. London Fire, we had our hose in the end locker rather than the middle locker, but configurations change. But yeah, this is where the hose would have sat on these 3 rods here. Generally 5 lengths of 70mm hose and 2 lengths of 45mm hose would have been the configuration on something like this. And again, systems here for obviously having something in the way of, I don't know, maybe a standpipe or branches, etc. Branches, however, generally, when we talk branches, we're talking the ends of the hose, so the nozzles. Branches sometimes would have been carried more often in the back locker, but again, this is where things like all your ancillary equipment would have been carried: your spades, your shovels, your crowbars, large axes, that kind of thing. Clearly, we've got a system set up here for maybe a couple of BA cylinders, or an air cutting pack of some sort would have gone in there, because it's shaped out here for the cylinders. So that all needs doing. But again, as in the middle locker and as in the front locker, just needs a clean up. It needs a clean out and a new lick of paint, and this is going to look absolutely tip top. Down here we've got the hose reel system. Those people of you out there who are in the job will know why I'm shuddering at the concept of this. Back to the days of hand winding the hose reel back onto the drum. No systems like we've got now, where you just press a button and the whole thing winds itself back on. No, back to winding it on. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to be disrespectful to whoever it was who had this truck last time the hose reel came off, but that's not how you put the hose reel on. Look at it. That needs to be nice and neat and, wound on so it comes off quickly and smoothly. That's going to get caught up like a complete bunch of whatever one knows. Does, however, still come with the branches. We're not going to try and dig them out at the moment. So that's connected onto the hose, as you can see. So that will come over the top. So that's nice to see, because they'd be quite difficult to get replaced. Moving on to the back. The pump bay looks generally in good order. Again, as I'm going to sound like a broken record, it just needs a bit of TLC. It needs cleaning. Look at the state of it in the back. This is the kind of thing you'd have got completely chased down the road for at a fire service if you'd have ever turned up with your truck in that condition. But yeah, we can clean all that out. We got the that's not something I would have used in London, so I will have to have a look at what that box was, but clearly that's come off there. I believe I've got to say comments in the or answers in the comments section if you know what that bit was for. So any of you fire service people out there who knew what that was, give us a shout, let me know, and we'll see if we can get it working. Sometimes you could have had maybe a couple of lengths of hose in here as well, so your quick attack lengths of hose, rather than going into the locker, you could have had a couple of lengths of hose in there just to quickly take them out. Some fire services also would have used those lengths to be the ones that would have connected the pump to the hydrant. I believe when we did operate it, or we did run it up, that the pump works. It certainly engages with the PTO, so we certainly get power through to it, and the revs do increase when we operate this. So that doesn't look like it's a million miles away from being a fully operational pump. What we didn't have is we didn't have water in the tank, so we don't know what its pumping capacity is like. So we've got a sight glass for the tank, so you can see that it's A, grubby, but B, there's no indication of water in there, so we know, just confirms what we said when we were talking about the pump, that there's no water in the tank. So, but that'll have to come out, and that'll have to get cleaned. And we'll get the old ping pong ball with a face on it. It's fire service tradition. You've got to have a ping pong ball with a face on it. Moving around, these lockers pretty much mirror what we've got on the other side. What we can see, which we'll look in the middle locker, is there is a slight difference in stowage. This is a Norfolk fire appliance as opposed to the ones I would have been used to, which is London. So we'll talk about the difference in a second. Hose reel looks a bit better, wound on a bit better. This one, a bit neater. Still a little bit of a crossover, so we'll have to sort that out. And that's just a case of winding it off and then getting somebody to help wind it back on again. No winding. Oh no, there is a winding handle, and it's actually still got the plastic cover on it as well, so that's nice. So 2 winding handles, lovely. This is where I was talking about the difference. So middle locker now, as I said, London, we'd have had 5 rolls of 75mm and 2 rolls of 2 lengths of 45mm hose in the middle locker on the other side, or we'd have had it in the back locker, and we'd have mirrored that on both sides. So we'd have had 5 lengths that side, 5 lengths this side of 70, and 2 lengths of 45, 2 lengths of 45 this side. Here you can see we don't have any stowage for hose, so all the hose looks like it's stowed on that other side. So that would have taken the full complementary of hose, which, personal view, it's problematic because it means, you know, if you need to access hose quickly, you're just limited to the one location, whereas if you had it in both lockers, you've got access to it in both locations. But I can see why they could potentially do it, because it might free up space elsewhere for stowage. Additional equipment would have gone in here, so things like these would have been boxes in here, so things like boxes for gas tight suits, boxes of sand, dry sand, barrels of foam, that kind of things would have gone in there. And again, additional space up here for further equipment, which, as you can see, is invisible at the moment, as Laurie was going on about. But yeah, caution when removing or handling this equipment. So just little warnings, so you can see health and safety creeping in already. Here we go. Nowadays, you open up a locker on a fire appliance and everything's got a label. You know, common sense, unfortunately, has gone out the door, and you need a label telling you what to do for everything. Front locker location here for just basically a bucket of some sort. So you just got the cutout there to put a bucket or something in. Again, location places for various other equipment. That looks like a box lamp. So we've got all that. We've got an airline connection. Haven't tested the air to see if we've got any buildup of air. We know the compressor seems to work okay, so it's quite possible that we'll be okay for air on that. And similar to the other side, we've got again another pull-out shelf, and this one, the handle does work. So let's see if we can actually get the thing out. Yeah, that slides out. All right, so again, whereas I was saying before about the RTC equipment, the other side could have been here, or and the pump on the other side, or vice versa. Comments in the comment section. Down here, we've got the handle for doing the cab tilt, and there, looking a bit grubby, is the control for the cab tilt. So you switch the switch over to raise, and then you get your handle out, place your handle into here, so you can see, place the handle onto that, and then crank away, and the front of the cab will lift off. So that's the lockers. Sorry, this has ended up to be a bit of a long video, but there's a lot to look at. After that, we'll go up on the roof, have a little look up on the roof, and then the piece de resistance, we'll get inside the cab and have a look inside there. So here we are on the roof of the appliance. As you can see, it's checkerboard all the way across, which we'll all polish up and clean. various different frameworks. Smaller ladder there. You'd have had your short extension ladder and your roof ladder on this section here. In the middle here, we'd have had either a 135 metal ladder, or more likely on this age of vehicle, a wooden Ajax ladder, both of which can be quite difficult to get hold of. But we'll try our best, and we'll talk to a few friends and see what we can sort out. There is a access point for the water tank here. You wouldn't generally fill it from here, but at least we should be able to get a little look inside the tank, assuming it's empty, just to see what kind of condition it's in. A unique feature, or at least I think it's a unique feature for Norfolk fire appliances, is this diagonal positioning of the blue lights. Again, speaking with Laurie from LMM, it seems to be something that Norfolk felt made the blue lights a little bit more visible at a RTC. So if you're out on a main carriageway somewhere, it makes the vehicle a little bit more visible. Most other fire services would have the two blue lights both at the front, and would have another blue light up on a mast at the back over here. This looks like a way of potentially trying to do it so with just the two ones on the front. Up on the top, again, a bit untidy. You can see there's the runners for the ladder, and there's no receiving bracket up here, so it would need a locking or receiving bracket up here for the ladder, depending on which ladder it was going to be. That's missing, so that will need to be replaced before we try and put a ladder on here, otherwise it'll just slide off the side. These ridges here and here, and on the roof there and there, they are the reinforced areas, and they're the bits that allow you to actually then walk onto the cab of the vehicle. Don't really want to walk on those areas there, because that's just a fiberglass roof and you'll just go straight through. But up here, what we can do is we can check and have a look at the seal. Certainly when we tilt the cab, look at the seal across here to prevent water from getting in. The inside of the cab looks remarkably dry, so it looks like that seal is working. And then finally up here is the two-tone horns. They don't work at the moment. The blue lights do work, the horns don't work. However, to make this legal on the road, because it is now no longer an emergency vehicle, the blue lights will have to be disabled so that they don't work. Because as I say, it's not an emergency vehicle anymore. Okay, time to get off the roof and go and have a look inside the cab. So, welcome to the cab. So this is the crew cab. This is the rear part of the cab. And as I said, first things is it's dry. So it means that the seal between the tilting part of the cab, which is here, so that section there tilts forwards, the seal between there and in here, this section, looks like it's in pretty good order because it's keeping the water out. This thing has been stored outside now for a number of years, so if that seal was faulty, this would have been absolutely horrendous in here. So the fact that it's nice and dry, that means that seal's good, which is good. Okay, look at the state of these hands. That's one thing. This truck definitely needs a clean. Okay, so in the cab, what have we got? BA, so this is where our breathing apparatus would have sat. So 4 breathing apparatus locks here. Simply BA set will go in there. This top part of the bracket comes down. He says it's not working, so that'll need sorting out. Yeah, that spring mechanism there. Let's get it in focus. That spring mechanism there should automatically push down. So it's just obviously just a little bit rusty. It needs greasing up. BA setup go in there, that locks down over the top, and then you've got a lever down here for operating it. Push it down, releases it, and then take your breathing apparatus set out. In here also, underneath here, is where the batteries are kept. So that's where your batteries are. So anyone sitting in the back here is sitting on top of those two monsters. And this is a problem we've got at the moment. They doesn't seem to be keeping a charge. Now either that's the batteries are faulty or the alternator's not charging them. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we're in the front. Let's close that up. Carrying on, one thing that is going to be a little bit of a nuisance if we ever need to work on it is, although the cab does tilt forwards and gives us good access for the engine, the transmission is accessed via that panel there, so that's all we've got to gain access to that part of it. So if we need to drop the gearbox, that'll be a little bit of a nice job, but certainly we can give that a good clean. Looks like something's probably been living in there at some point, so we'll make sure that nothing's been chewed through. That could explain why we got lights and issues like that. That goes down, and that's actually just locked in. Once it's in place, just locked in with clips here and here, and likewise there and there, and then that's locked in place. Normally 4 people would sit in the back of here. I'd be very surprised nowadays if you ever got 4 people in the back of one of these. It can go down to a minimum of 2, so then you'd have officer in charge sitting over here, you'd have your driver sitting here, and 2 firefighters in the back, so you'd have a crew of 4 as a minimum. As a maximum, 4 in the back, 2 in the front, crew of 6. Document holder of some sort, so putting various different documents, folders, things like that, information about maybe local risks, etc. But one thing which is in here, which strikes horror to my heart, is that, ladies and gents, is a railway warning horn. And again, for the sake of YouTube, I'm not going to say too much, but anybody in the fire service will know why I am not going to demonstrate how this works. And please, on that one, no comments in the comment section on that one. Let's leave that one as those who know. Not great more to tell you about the back of the cab. Headlining looks okay, but yeah, it needs a bit of a clean. Let's go and get in the front. And here we have it. We are now in the front of the vehicle, and you can see the work we've got going on in the front here. Main thing that we've got, as we said, much as we've got power, it's not going to start, so it needs a jump pack to start it. It just doesn't seem to want to keep a charge, even though, and again, happy for people to pass comments, voltage gauge when it's running, this is looking at round about 29-30 volts it's putting into the battery, so it looks like it's running a bit high. General consensus yesterday when we were driving it is that we think that maybe these 3 gauges here, are all not operating perfectly. At the moment, air tank 1 is in the red when we're driving, so we have to. So initially we kept dumping the air out of the system just to keep that out of the red. Air tank 2 runs at just below the red, so it does seem to be running a little bit high, so maybe the air system could need a little bit of a clean out. But what we're thinking is, certainly for the journey that we did yesterday, if the air pressure was genuinely up to that point, we'd have lost a hose. It would have blown a hose out of it. With the air dump system was working. We could hear the air dumping out of the system as you were driving along, so we know that bit was working. We think possibly the gauges are just reading high, so we'll need to get these gauges out and get them checked. Gauges on this console all seem to be working fine. Temperature gauge didn't move much, which makes us think that possibly the gauge is faulty, but I think we're thinking probably more likely the thermostat has gone, so the thermostat will need to be replaced. Not a massive issue for us at the moment because this vehicle is not going to be doing any heavy work. It's not going to be pumping, it's not going to be carrying lots of equipment, so it's got a massive water tank, so we've got a bit of leeway, but certainly something we are going to look at and get that sorted. Handbrake on this vehicle is up here. The boot off that's come out, so we'll have to sort that out, but we're going to take all this off anyway to check all the connections. Here's all our switches, so most of which I know they're locker lights, they're blowers, they should be internal lights, which, oh yeah, internal lights do work. That's nice. So the internal lights do work. That one doesn't seem to have anything related to it at all. Fogs, not sure what that one is. We've got our blue lights, which you might be able to hear and see. So blue lights work at the moment, but as I say, we'll disable those in order to make it road legal. And the two-tones, they don't work. So two-tones, press the switch there, and then down at the bottom there you've got a pedal, or just a switch pedal, to operate the two-tones. They don't work. We will try it when we get over the officer in charge seat, because there's another button down there, so just to make sure that it's not just that button down there, but we'll give that a try. Automatic gearbox, power takeoff. So this is for the pump. So on this vehicle, you put it in neutral. You have to pull the throttle interlock first, so that you'll pull that one out. So you pull that one out, and then you pull the power takeoff. So once those two are pulled, the pump itself will start to operate. Let's push those back in. Let's go and get in the officer in charge's side. So, officer in charge's side. First thing on this one, door lock mechanism doesn't work, so you can't lock the door, and you can't get out from this side. So you do have to open the window in order to get out. So the officer in charge has a lamp. To release it, press it once, just unlocks the mechanism, and press it two, releases it. Basically it's just a car headlamp on a cable, and that just allows you to shine out from the window if you're just trying to spot something. So you can actually, shine from here. So say if you're looking for people at a road traffic collision, or you're looking across fields or moorlands, etc., just gives you an opportunity just to shine out a little bit. Various things here. So we've got obviously an area here. There must have been something there at some point. I'm not fully aware what was in there, but again, answers in the comments please. Inspection cover there, that's locked. We'll have to undo this, see what's inside there. And in here we've got our fuses. So we do have a number of fuses there, so we can have a little look, see what's in there. There's clearly some missing, so we can have a little look at those and see what they are, and see if there's anything that we can repair. Answers in the comments please, people, or offers in the comments. If you've got stacks of those fuses sitting around and you're not using them, please get in touch with me. I'm more than happy to take fuses off you, because I'm sure this thing will eat them. Position for a fire extinguisher. What is quite unusual for these vehicles So this is obviously a later on addition. Is down here we've got an inverter to actually give us a 240 volt extension cable here. So that was obviously to charge various different pieces of equipment. So rather than bothering trying to get equipment that was 24 volt, they've just gone for an inverter and a 240 volt power supply, which will actually probably end up being quite useful. So I think the first thing we're going to do is give him a bit of a clean. Dennis has not seen a drop of water, I think, for, other than a Sky Juice, hasn't seen a drop of water for quite some considerable time. So we'll go around it, we'll give it a proper good clean, hoover out, etc., which will hopefully reveal any other issues that we might have. We're not trying to polish him up ready for exhibitions or anything. It is literally just to uncover any other final issues that we might have, so that we know what kind of work we've got. Okay, thanks everyone. Please, if you like it, if you want to see what we're going to do with this vehicle, please subscribe, like, comment, do all that good YouTube stuff, which again I'm still learning what to do with it. Having spent time with LMM and Laurie and seeing the work that he does and the effort he puts into these videos, absolutely amazing. I'll try and make them better. This is as much a learning circle for me, how to do the YouTube, as it is how to do this vehicle. So enjoy the journey with me. Thanks very much, everyone. Goodbye.